Emotions can feel like a roller coaster in today's fast-paced world. One moment, you're riding high, and the next, you're plunged into frustration, anxiety, or doubt. It's a struggle many of us face daily, often feeling like we're at the mercy of our own feelings. But what if there was a way to step off that roller coaster and take control? Thousands of years ago, the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius offered a simple yet profound piece of wisdom. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Stoicism, this ancient philosophy, isn't about suppressing emotions but mastering them, turning chaos into clarity. In this video, we'll explore 50 practical Stoic practices that can help you do just that: master your emotions, regain your focus, and find peace in the midst of life's storms. Whether you're facing stress, anger, or uncertainty, these timeless tools can empower you to respond with intention rather than react with impulse. Let's dive in and discover how Stoicism can transform the way you handle your emotions, one practice at a time. What if you could control how your emotions influence your actions rather than being swept away by them? Emotional mastery in Stoic philosophy isn't about denying or suppressing what you feel. It's about understanding the space between your emotions and your reactions. The Stoics believed that emotions themselves are neither good nor bad. They're simply natural responses to the events around us. What truly matters is how we choose to respond to those emotions. For example, feeling anger isn't inherently wrong. It's how you act on that anger that defines its impact. Stoicism teaches us to pause, reflect, and act with intention rather than impulse. By creating that moment of awareness, you gain the power to shape your actions instead of letting your emotions dictate them. Think of it like a storm. You can't control the wind or the rain, but you can decide how you navigate through it. This is the essence of emotional mastery. Recognizing that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. It's a skill that takes practice, but with time, it becomes a powerful tool for maintaining clarity and composure, no matter what life throws your way. Ever found yourself stuck in traffic, fuming at the endless red lights and slow-moving cars? It's a situation that can easily spiral into frustration, even anger. But here's the thing, no amount of honking, cursing, or wishing the traffic would move faster will change the reality of the situation. This is where the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control comes into play. At its core, this idea teaches us to distinguish between what is within our power and what isn't. Traffic, for instance, is entirely outside your control, but your reaction to it is entirely within your control. This simple distinction can be life-changing. By focusing your energy only on what you can influence, your thoughts, your choices, your actions, you free yourself from the unnecessary stress of trying to change things you can't. The Stoics believed that much of our emotional turmoil comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. When you internalize this principle, you start to see how much of your mental energy is wasted on things that don't truly depend on you. Emotional mastery begins here, by letting go of what you can't change and redirecting your focus to what you can. It's not about giving up, it's about channeling your efforts where they truly matter. This shift in perspective doesn't just reduce stress, it empowers you to approach challenges with a calm, clear mind, no matter how chaotic the situation may seem. Imagine standing on the shore, watching waves crash against the rocks. From that distance, the waves are powerful, but they don't pull you in. This is the essence of cognitive distancing, a Stoic practice that teaches us to step back from our emotions and observe them as if we were watching from the safety of the shore. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, put it this way: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, events themselves don't disturb us. It's our interpretation of those events that stirs our emotions. Cognitive distancing helps us create a mental space where we can see our feelings for what they truly are, temporary, passing reactions, not defining truths. When you feel anger rising or anxiety creeping in, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is this emotion serving me, or is it clouding my judgment? This simple act of reflection can break the cycle of impulsive reactions and give you the clarity to respond with intention. How often do you let your emotions dictate your actions? By practicing cognitive distancing, you begin to see that emotions are like weather. They come and go, but they don't have to control you. This shift in perspective is the foundation of emotional mastery, helping you stay grounded even in the face of life's inevitable storms. Presence is the foundation of emotional clarity. In a world where our minds often drift to regrets about the past or worries about the future, the Stoics remind us that the only moment we truly have is the present. Imagine this: you're washing dishes, but your mind is 1,000 miles away replaying an awkward conversation from yesterday or stressing about a meeting tomorrow. Suddenly, the task feels tedious, even frustrating. But what if instead you focused entirely on the warm water, the texture of the soap, the rhythm of your hands moving? This simple act of mindfulness transforms the experience, grounding you in the here and now. The Stoics called this practice attention, training your mind to fully engage with the present moment. It's not about ignoring the past or future, but recognizing that they exist only as thoughts, not as reality. When you anchor yourself in the present, you strip away the layers of anxiety and regret that cloud your emotional clarity. The next time you feel overwhelmed, try this: pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what am I experiencing right now? By doing so, you reclaim control over your thoughts and emotions, finding peace in the simplicity of the moment. This isn't just mindfulness, it's a Stoic tool for living with purpose and composure, one moment at a time. One of the most powerful Stoic practices for emotional clarity is journaling. Think of your mind as a cluttered room, thoughts, emotions, and reactions piled up, creating chaos. Journaling is like tidying that room, giving you space to sort through what's inside. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, left us a timeless example of this practice in his book Meditations. What started as his personal journal became a profound guide to self-reflection and emotional mastery. He didn't write for an audience, he wrote to understand himself better, to process his thoughts, and to align his actions with his values. This is the essence of Stoic journaling. It's not about crafting perfect sentences, but about gaining clarity. Try this simple exercise. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to write down the emotional triggers you faced and how you responded. Did you react with anger, frustration, or calm? By putting it on paper, you create a mirror that reflects your patterns, helping you see where you can improve. Over time, this practice becomes a tool for self-awareness and growth, allowing you to approach emotions with intention rather than habit. Journaling isn't just about recording events, it's about understanding yourself and taking control of your inner world. Start small, be consistent, and watch how this simple act transforms the way you handle life's challenges. Picture this: Seneca, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, often found himself facing the unpredictability of Roman politics, a world filled with shifting alliances, sudden betrayals, and unexpected dangers. To navigate this uncertainty, he practiced what the Stoics called Premeditatio Malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This isn't about dwelling on negativity or expecting the worst. It's about preparing your mind for the challenges life might throw your way. Seneca would regularly imagine scenarios that could disrupt his peace, political exile, financial loss, even personal failure, and mentally rehearse how he would respond. By doing so, he wasn't paralyzed by fear when these events occurred. Instead, he was calm, ready, and resilient. This practice of anticipation isn't about pessimism, it's about emotional preparedness. When you visualize potential obstacles, you strip them of their power to shock or overwhelm you. For example, if you're anxious about an upcoming presentation, take a moment to imagine what could go wrong: technical issues, a tough question, or even forgetting your line. Then visualize yourself handling each scenario with poise and confidence. This mental rehearsal doesn't just reduce anxiety, it builds a sense of control and readiness. Life is unpredictable, but by practicing Premeditatio Malorum, you train your mind to meet uncertainty with calm and clarity. It's a tool that turns fear into foresight, helping you face challenges with courage rather than dread. Amor Fati, the love of fate. This Stoic principle, championed by Epictetus, is about embracing everything that happens to you, not just the good but also the challenges, the setbacks, and even the heartbreaks. As Epictetus put it, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens, then you will be happy. At first glance, this might seem counterintuitive. Why would anyone love hardship or disappointment? But Amor Fati isn't about blind acceptance. It's about finding meaning and growth in every experience, no matter how difficult. Imagine a tree. It doesn't choose where its seed falls, yet it grows wherever it lands, adapting to the soil, the weather, and the environment. In the same way, life often places us in situations we didn't choose, but it's up to us to grow through them. Think about a time when you faced a challenge. Did it teach you resilience, patience, or perhaps a new perspective? The Stoics believed that every obstacle is an opportunity to strengthen our character and deepen our understanding of life. So the next time you're faced with adversity, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience shape me into a stronger, wiser person? Amor Fati shifts your mindset from resistance to curiosity, turning every moment, good or bad, into a step forward on your journey. It's not about loving the pain, it's about loving the person you become because of it. Think about the last time someone criticized you. Maybe it was a comment from a colleague or feedback from a friend. In the moment, it might have stung, leaving you defensive or upset. But what if, instead of seeing it as an attack, you viewed it as an opportunity to grow? This is the power of perspective, a Stoic tool that can transform how you experience and respond to emotions. The Stoics believed that our emotional reactions aren't determined by events themselves, but by how we interpret those events. A shift in perspective can turn frustration into curiosity, anger into understanding, and even fear into motivation. For example, when stuck in traffic, you could focus on the inconvenience, or you could use the time to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or simply enjoy a moment of stillness. The situation hasn't changed, but your emotional response has. This practice isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing a way of thinking that serves you better. By reframing challenges as opportunities or setbacks as lessons, you reclaim control over your emotional landscape. It's like putting on a new pair of glasses. The world looks different, and so do your feelings about it. How often do you let your initial reaction shape your entire experience? The next time you face criticism, frustration, or disappointment, pause and ask yourself, how else could I look at this? A simple shift in perspective can turn emotional turbulence into calm, helping you navigate life with greater clarity and resilience. When we set goals, it's easy to get caught up in the outcome, whether we succeed or fail, whether we achieve what we set out to do. But the Stoics offer a different approach. Instead of fixating on the results, focus on the effort and intention behind your actions. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." This idea shifts the emphasis from the end result to the process itself. When you pour your energy into doing what is within your control, your preparation, your persistence, your mindset, you free yourself from the anxiety of outcomes you can't guarantee. Consider this: if you're preparing for a job interview, you can research, practice, and refine your answers, but you can't control the final decision. By detaching from the outcome, you redirect your focus to what truly matters, showing up fully, giving your best effort, and staying true to your values. This doesn't mean you stop caring about success. It means you stop letting it define your worth or happiness. Goals are important, but they're not the only measure of your effort. When you detach from results, you create a sense of freedom and resilience that allows you to keep moving forward regardless of what happens. It's a reminder that the journey, the way you approach each step, matters far more than the destination. So the next time you set a goal, try this: focus on the process, embrace the effort, and let go of the need to control the outcome. This shift can transform not just how you pursue your goals, but how you experience the path to achieving them. Have you ever noticed how your breathing changes when you're stressed or upset? Your breath becomes shallow, quick, and uneven, almost mirroring the chaos in your mind. This is where mindful breathing, a Stoic technique, can work wonders. By focusing on your breath, you create a moment of pause, a brief but powerful space between feeling an emotion and reacting to it. The Stoics understood that our emotions often hijack our rational thinking, but by controlling the breath, you can regain control of your mind. Here's a simple practice: the next time you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety rising, take a deep breath before reacting. Inhale slowly for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. This rhythmic breathing not only calms your nervous system, but also gives you a chance to step back and assess the situation with clarity. Think of it as hitting a mental reset button. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." Mindful breathing helps you exercise that option, creating a pause where you can choose how to respond rather than being swept away by emotion. It's a tool that's always with you, no matter where you are or what you're facing. Whether it's a tense conversation, a hectic day, or a moment of self-doubt, mindful breathing brings you back to the present, grounding you in calm and clarity. It's not just a breathing exercise, it's a Stoic practice for emotional mastery, one breath at a time. How often do you act impulsively, letting your emotions drive decisions you later regret? This is where the Stoic virtue of temperance comes into play, a principle that teaches us to exercise self-control and moderation in all aspects of life. Temperance isn't about denying yourself pleasure or living austerely. It's about finding balance, ensuring that your desires and reactions don't overwhelm your ability to think clearly. The Stoics believed that excess, whether in anger, indulgence, or even ambition, can cloud judgment and lead to regret. By practicing temperance, you create a buffer between your emotions and your actions, allowing space for rational thought to guide you. Think of it like a thermostat. Temperance helps you regulate your emotional temperature, keeping it steady rather than swinging wildly between extremes. For instance, when faced with a heated argument, temperance would encourage you to pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully instead of lashing out in the heat of the moment. It's a tool for emotional balance, helping you navigate life's ups and downs with composure and clarity. The next time you feel the pull of an impulsive reaction, ask yourself, is this serving me, or am I allowing my emotions to take the wheel? Temperance isn't just a virtue. It's a practice that empowers you to act with intention, ensuring that your emotions enhance your life rather than control it. The Stoics placed reason at the center of their philosophy, viewing it as the guiding force that can steer us through the storm of emotions. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions." In other words, what we focus on and how we think shapes our emotional responses. For the Stoics, reason wasn't just a tool for problem solving, it was a way to maintain inner peace and clarity, even in the face of chaos. Emotions, they believed, are natural, but they shouldn't dictate our actions. Instead, we should use logic to examine our feelings and determine the best course of action. Let's take anger as an example. When someone cuts you off in traffic, your first instinct might be frustration or even rage. But if you pause and apply reason, you might realize that the other driver's actions have no real impact on your day unless you let them. By choosing logic over emotion, you can diffuse the anger before it escalates, saving yourself unnecessary stress. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means understanding them and deciding how to respond. Reason acts as a filter, helping you separate what's worth your energy from what isn't. It's a way to reclaim control over your emotional landscape, ensuring that your actions align with your values rather than fleeting impulses. The next time you feel a strong emotion, try this. Pause, step back, and ask yourself, what's the most rational way to handle this? When you let reason guide you, you transform emotional reactions into thoughtful responses, creating a life rooted in clarity and purpose. Nothing lasts forever, including emotions. This simple truth lies at the heart of the Stoic practice of Memento Mori, the reminder of impermanence. The Stoics believed that accepting the transient nature of life is key to reducing attachment and anxiety. Think about it, the joy you feel today, the frustration of yesterday, even the challenges you're facing right now, they're all temporary. Just as a storm eventually passes, so too do our emotions. This doesn't mean we should dismiss or trivialize what we feel, but rather recognize that no emotional state is permanent. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this, writing, "All things fade into the storied past, and in a little while are shrouded in oblivion." By acknowledging impermanence, we can approach our emotions with a sense of detachment, knowing that even the most intense feelings will fade with time. This perspective doesn't just reduce anxiety, it also cultivates gratitude. When you realize that the good moments are fleeting, you're more likely to savor them fully. And when you understand that difficult emotions won't last forever, you're better equipped to endure them with patience and resilience. Accepting impermanence isn't about being indifferent, it's about finding peace in the ebb and flow of life. So the next time you're overwhelmed by an emotion, remind yourself, this too shall pass. It's a timeless truth that can help you navigate life's ups and downs with grace and equanimity. Imagine waking up to a rainy morning, the kind that makes you groan at the thought of stepping outside. Instead of focusing on the inconvenience, what if you paused for a moment and noticed the sound of the rain tapping against the window, the way it nourishes the earth, or the cozy feeling of being indoors with a warm drink? This simple act of noticing is at the heart of practicing gratitude, a Stoic tool for emotional well-being. The Stoics believed that gratitude isn't just about saying, "Thank you." It's about training your mind to see the value in what you already have rather than fixating on what you lack. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance, helping you find contentment in the present moment. Start small. Take a moment each day to reflect on something you appreciate, whether it's a kind word from a friend, a delicious meal, or even the opportunity to learn from a challenge. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to notice and savor the good, even in difficult circumstances. Gratitude isn't about ignoring life's hardships, it's about balancing them with an awareness of the gifts that surround you. It's a way to cultivate resilience, joy, and a deeper connection to the world. So, what's one thing you're grateful for today? Taking a moment to acknowledge it can transform not just your mood, but your entire outlook on life. The Stoics understood that silence can be a powerful ally in mastering your emotions. In moments of conflict or frustration, it's tempting to react immediately, to let words spill out unchecked. But often, this leads to regret, saying something in the heat of the moment that you can't take back. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher known for his practical wisdom, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This simple yet profound observation highlights the value of silence as a tool for emotional control. When you pause before responding, you create a moment of clarity, a space where you can assess the situation, consider your words, and choose your response with intention. Think of it as a mental reset button. In an argument, for instance, instead of reacting defensively or lashing out, take a deep breath and allow a moment of silence. This brief pause not only diffuses tension but also gives you the chance to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Silence isn't about avoidance, it's about empowerment. It's a reminder that you don't have to fill every moment with words. Sometimes the most effective response is no response at all. By practicing the art of silence, you reclaim control over your emotions and your interactions, turning potential conflicts into opportunities for understanding and growth. The next time you feel the urge to react, try this: pause, breathe, and let silence guide you to a more thoughtful reply. It's a practice that not only preserves relationships but also strengthens your emotional resilience. What if discomfort wasn't something to avoid, but a gateway to growth? The Stoics believed that facing challenges head-on is one of the most effective ways to build emotional resilience. Instead of shying away from difficult situations, they leaned into them, viewing discomfort as an opportunity to strengthen their character. Imagine a musician practicing scales for hours. The repetition might feel tedious, even painful, but it's essential for mastering their craft. In the same way, the Stoics saw discomfort as a form of mental training, a way to prepare for life's inevitable hardships. This mindset is especially relevant in our modern world, where it's easy to seek comfort and avoid what's difficult, whether it's a challenging conversation, a fear of failure, or the stress of stepping outside your comfort zone. By embracing discomfort, you're not just enduring it, you're transforming it into a tool for growth. Start small. The next time you feel resistance to something difficult, lean into it. Maybe it's a workout you've been putting off or a task that feels overwhelming. Instead of avoiding it, approach it with curiosity and determination. Over time, this practice builds a kind of emotional muscle, making you more resilient in the face of life's bigger challenges. Discomfort isn't the enemy, it's a teacher, showing you what you're capable of and helping you grow stronger with every step. So, the next time you feel that familiar pull to avoid something hard, ask yourself, what if this discomfort is the very thing that helps me rise to the next level? It's a mindset shift that can turn fear into courage and struggle into strength. Routines often get a bad rap, seen as mundane or repetitive, something to break free from in the name of spontaneity. But what if your daily habits were actually a source of strength, a way to anchor yourself in the midst of life's chaos? The Stoics understood the power of routine, not as a rigid set of rules, but as a framework for emotional stability. Think of it like the rhythm of a drumbeat in a song. It provides structure, allowing everything else to flow more smoothly. Take morning rituals, for example. Starting your day with intention, whether it's journaling, meditating, or simply taking a few moments to breathe, sets the tone for how you'll handle whatever comes your way. Marcus Aurelius began his days by reminding himself of his values and the challenges he might face, grounding himself in purpose before stepping into the world. This isn't about creating a perfect schedule. It's about building small, consistent practices that help you stay centered. When life feels overwhelming, routines act as a safety net, reducing stress by giving you a sense of control and predictability. They're like a compass, guiding you back to calm when emotions threaten to pull you off course. Consider this: What's one small habit you can incorporate into your day to create that sense of stability? It doesn't have to be elaborate, just something meaningful that helps you pause, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. In a world that's constantly changing, routines offer a steady rhythm, a way to navigate the chaos with a little more ease and a lot more clarity. By embracing the power of routine, you're not just managing your time, you're mastering your emotions one day at a time. Scrolling through social media, it's easy to feel a pang of envy seeing someone's perfect vacation, their career milestone, or their seemingly flawless life. This habit of comparison, though common, can quietly erode our sense of contentment and self-worth. The Stoics, centuries ago, warned against this trap, teaching that true peace comes from focusing on your own path rather than measuring it against others. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, wisely said, "Let your philosophy guide your life, not the opinions of others." Comparison not only distracts you from your goals, but also creates unnecessary emotional turmoil. Why? Because when you measure your life against someone else's highlight reel, you're comparing your reality to their curated illusion. The Stoics believed that each person's journey is unique, with its own challenges and triumphs. Instead of looking outward, they encouraged looking inward, focusing on your values, your progress, and your own definition of success. This isn't about ignoring others' achievements, it's about recognizing that their path isn't yours to walk. When you stop comparing, you free yourself from the weight of expectations and the pressure to keep up. Contentment, as the Stoics taught, comes from embracing your own journey, flaws and all, and finding joy in the progress you make. So the next time you catch yourself scrolling and feeling that familiar envy, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, am I comparing my chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20? By shifting your focus inward, you reclaim your sense of purpose and find a deeper, more authentic kind of happiness. It's a reminder that your life isn't a race against others. It's a journey to become the best version of yourself. Courage isn't just about facing physical danger. It's about confronting the emotional battles we all face daily. The Stoics considered courage one of the 4 cardinal virtues, essential for navigating life's challenges with strength and integrity. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." This isn't hyperbole. It's a reminder that emotional resilience requires bravery, whether it's standing up for your values, admitting a mistake, or simply choosing to rise again after a setback. Courage, in the Stoic sense, is about acting in spite of fear, not the absence of it. It's the willingness to sit with discomfort, to face uncertainty, and to take the next step even when the path ahead isn't clear. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by an emotion. Perhaps it was anxiety before a big presentation or fear of rejection when sharing an idea. Courage doesn't mean those feelings disappear. It means you move forward despite them. This Stoic virtue isn't reserved for grand, heroic moments. It's woven into the small, everyday decisions that shape your character. So here's a question to reflect on. What emotional challenge can you face today? Maybe it's having a difficult conversation, stepping outside your comfort zone, or simply choosing to forgive yourself for a past mistake. By identifying and confronting these challenges, you're not just practicing courage, you're building the emotional strength to handle whatever life throws your way. Remember, courage isn't a one-time act, it's a habit, a muscle you strengthen with every small, brave choice. Let each challenge become an opportunity to embody this timeless virtue, proving to yourself that you are stronger than your fears. There's a moment in every emotional storm, a split second, where you can either react impulsively or pause, breathe, and respond with intention. This is the essence of the Stoic practice of the pause, a simple yet transformative tool for emotional mastery. In the heat of the moment, when anger, frustration, or anxiety flare up, it's easy to let emotions take the wheel, leading to words or actions you might later regret. The Stoics understood that our first impulse isn't always our best one, and that's where the power of the pause comes in. By creating a brief gap between stimulus and response, you give yourself the chance to choose how to act rather than being swept away by emotion. A simple but effective technique: count to 10 before responding. It's not about suppressing what you feel, it's about giving yourself the space to process it. Think of it like this: emotions are like waves, and the pause is the shore that prevents them from overwhelming you. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Pausing is a way to reclaim that mastery, ensuring your actions align with your values rather than fleeting impulses. Whether you're in a heated argument, facing criticism, or dealing with stress, this practice can be a lifeline. It interrupts the cycle of reactivity, allowing you to respond with clarity and composure instead of regret. So, the next time you feel the rush of an emotion, try this: pause, take a deep breath, and count to 10. It's a small action, but it can make a world of difference, transforming potential conflicts into opportunities for thoughtful, intentional responses. In a world that often demands quick reactions, the power of the pause is a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply wait. What does it mean to live naturally? For the Stoics, this question goes beyond the physical world. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental principles of both the universe and your own human nature. At its core, Stoicism teaches that we thrive when we live in harmony with nature, embracing the roles we're meant to play in the grand scheme of things. But what does that look like in practice? It begins with understanding that human nature is tied to reason, our unique ability to think, reflect, and act with intention. The Stoics believed that when we stray from this, when we let emotions or external pressures dictate our actions, we're out of sync with our true selves. Living naturally, then, means cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, and temperance, and using them to navigate life's challenges. Think of it like a tree. It doesn't fight against the wind or resist the seasons. It adapts, grows, and thrives by working with the forces around it. In the same way, living in harmony with nature means accepting what we can't change, focusing on what we can control, and striving to act with integrity and purpose. Emotional alignment follows naturally from this balance. When you live in accordance with your nature, you're less likely to be thrown off course by external events or fleeting feelings. Instead, you're grounded, centered, and able to respond to life with clarity and calm. So, how can you start living more naturally? Begin by reflecting on your values and priorities. Are your choices aligned with what truly matters to you, or are you chasing external validation or temporary pleasures? By reconnecting with your inner nature, your reason, your virtues, your purpose, you create a foundation for emotional stability and fulfillment. Living naturally isn't about rejecting the modern world. It's about finding your place within it, rooted in authenticity and guided by wisdom. It's a practice that transforms not just how you feel, but how you live. In a world that often celebrates ego and self-promotion, humility stands as a quiet yet profound Stoic virtue, one that can transform how we experience and navigate our emotions. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, once wrote, "You will find rest from vain fancies if you perform every act in life as though it were your last." This is humility in action, a reminder to approach life with simplicity and sincerity, free from the need to prove oneself or seek validation. Humility isn't about diminishing your worth, it's about freeing yourself from the weight of ego, a source of so much unnecessary stress, resentment, and frustration. Think about it. How often have you felt anger or defensiveness because your pride was wounded? Humility offers a way out of this cycle, allowing you to let go of the need to be right, to be seen, or to be perfect. One of the most practical ways to practice humility is by admitting mistakes without shame. It's a simple act, but it requires courage. the courage to be vulnerable, to acknowledge imperfection, and to learn rather than defend. In doing so, you not only diffuse tension but also open the door to growth and understanding. Humility doesn't mean self-effacement. It means seeing yourself clearly, strengths and flaws alike, and finding peace in that honesty. It's a way to reduce the emotional noise that ego creates, leaving space for clarity, connection, and compassion. The next time you're tempted to let pride guide your actions, pause and ask yourself, what would humility look like here? It's a question that can shift your perspective, helping you respond to life's challenges with grace and equanimity. Humility isn't just a virtue, it's a practice that liberates you from the burdens of ego, allowing you to live with greater ease and authenticity. Anger, it's one of the most intense and destructive emotions we experience, and yet it's also one of the hardest to control. The Stoics had a unique take on anger, viewing it not as an inevitable reaction but as a choice, a misguided one at that. Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, dedicated an entire book to the subject, calling anger a brief madness. He argued that while anger might feel powerful in the moment, it ultimately weakens us, clouding our judgment and leading to actions we later regret. But why do we get angry in the first place? The Stoics believed anger stems from unmet expectations when reality doesn't align with what we think should happen. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, you might feel angry because you expect drivers to be courteous or follow the rules. The Stoic solution isn't to suppress this feeling but to examine it. Why am I expecting this person to act differently? Are my expectations realistic, or am I setting myself up for frustration? By questioning the beliefs that fuel anger, you strip it of its power. This practice of self-awareness allows you to respond with clarity rather than react with rage. Seneca often reminded himself that anger doesn't solve problems, it creates them. Instead of lashing out, he suggested pausing to reflect, is this anger serving me, or is it burning me from the inside? It's a question worth asking the next time you feel that familiar heat rising. Anger may feel like a fire that consumes everything in its path, but with Stoic wisdom, you can learn to extinguish it before it takes hold. By mastering your response to anger, you reclaim control over your emotions, choosing calm over chaos and reason over recklessness. It's not about never feeling anger, it's about refusing to let it dictate your actions. How does fairness influence your emotions? It's a question that cuts to the core of the Stoic virtue of justice, a principle that goes beyond legal systems and societal rules. For the Stoics, justice was about living with integrity, treating others with fairness, empathy, and respect, not because it's expected, but because it aligns with your own moral compass. Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher who ruled an empire, often reflected on this, writing, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." In other words, your actions toward others ripple back, shaping not just their lives but your own emotional well-being. Think about it. When you act unjustly, whether it's through dishonesty, cruelty, or indifference, it creates inner turmoil, a sense of dissonance that disrupts your peace. But when you choose fairness and compassion, you cultivate harmony within yourself and in your relationships. Justice, in this sense, isn't just about righting wrongs. It's about fostering a sense of connection and empathy that enriches your emotional life. It's about recognizing that how you treat others reflects how you see yourself. When you act with integrity, you build trust, reduce conflict, and create a foundation for lasting contentment. So, the next time you're faced with a decision that tests your sense of fairness, ask yourself, what would justice look like here? It's a question that can guide you toward actions that not only align with your values but also nurture your emotional health. Justice, as the Stoics taught, isn't just a virtue, it's a practice that deepens your connection to others and strengthens your inner peace. In a world that often feels divided, it's a reminder that fairness and compassion are the threads that weave us together. Less clutter, more peace. This simple phrase captures the essence of the Stoic practice of simplicity, a powerful tool for achieving emotional clarity. The Stoics believed that complexity, whether in our surroundings, our schedules, or our minds, often leads to unnecessary stress and distraction. By intentionally simplifying our lives, we create space to focus on what truly matters, reducing the noise that can cloud our judgment and amplify our emotions. Think about it. When your environment is cluttered, your mind tends to feel cluttered too. The same principle applies to your daily habits. Overloading your schedule or juggling too many responsibilities can leave you feeling scattered and overwhelmed. Simplicity, in the Stoic sense, isn't about deprivation, it's about prioritizing. It's about clearing away the excess to make room for what aligns with your values and brings you peace. Start small. Take a look at your physical space. Are there items you no longer need or use that are taking up mental and emotional energy? Letting go of them can be surprisingly freeing. Next, consider your schedule. Are there commitments that drain you more than they fulfill you? Simplifying doesn't mean saying no to everything. It means saying yes to what truly matters. By stripping away the unnecessary, you reduce the sources of stress that so often fuel emotional turmoil. It's like decluttering your mind, creating a calm, clear space where you can think and feel with intention. Simplicity isn't just a lifestyle choice, it's a way to reclaim control over your emotional well-being. When you focus on less, you create the conditions for more peace, more clarity, and more joy. So, what's one thing you can simplify today? It's a small step, but it can lead to profound shifts in how you experience and manage your emotions. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy weight. It burdens you long after the initial hurt has passed. The Stoics saw forgiveness not as a weakness, but as a profound act of emotional liberation. Epictetus, with his characteristic wisdom, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Forgiveness is a choice, a deliberate decision to let go of anger and bitterness, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Think of it this way: when you cling to a grudge, you're allowing someone else's actions to continue affecting your emotional state. By forgiving, you reclaim control over your feelings, freeing yourself from the hold of past grievances. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior or pretending the hurt didn't happen. It means choosing to move forward without letting that pain define you. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a way to release the emotional baggage that weighs you down. So, here's a question to reflect on: what grudge can you release today? Maybe it's something small, like a snide comment that's been lingering in your mind, or something larger, like a betrayal that's shaped your relationships. Whatever it is, consider the possibility of letting it go, not for the other person's sake, but for your own. Forgiveness isn't always easy, but it's always powerful. It's a practice that can transform resentment into understanding, anger into compassion, and pain into growth. By embracing forgiveness, you open the door to emotional freedom, allowing yourself to live with greater lightness and clarity. What would it feel like to leave that weight behind? The choice is yours, and the freedom it brings is immeasurable. People are not meant to live in isolation. We thrive in connection. This Stoic insight reminds us that community plays a vital role in our emotional well-being. While Stoicism often emphasizes self-reliance and inner strength, it doesn't advocate for going it alone. In fact, the Stoics recognize that being part of a community, whether it's a group of friends, a family, or a like-minded circle, can provide crucial support in navigating life's challenges. Think about it: when you're feeling overwhelmed, misunderstood, or simply stuck, having someone to talk to can make all the difference. A supportive community acts as a sounding board, offering perspective, encouragement, and even wisdom when you need it most. It's not about relying on others to solve your problems, but about sharing the journey and learning from one another. For instance, imagine joining a Stoic study group where members discuss philosophy, share personal experiences, and hold each other accountable to their values. This kind of connection not only reduces the sense of loneliness, but also reinforces your commitment to growth and self-improvement. The Stoics believed that humans are social creatures by nature. Our ability to reason and empathize binds us together. When you surround yourself with people who uplift and challenge you, you create a network of emotional resilience that helps you weather life's storms. So consider this: are there ways you can build or strengthen your community today? Maybe it's reaching out to a friend, joining a group with shared interests, or simply being more present in your existing relationships. Community isn't just about having people around. It's about creating meaningful connections that enrich your life and help you grow. In a world that can often feel disconnected, finding your tribe can be one of the most powerful ways to support your emotional journey. Letting others in isn't a sign of weakness, it's a step toward greater strength and fulfillment. Wisdom in the Stoic tradition is more than just knowledge. It's the ability to see life clearly, to understand its complexities, and to navigate them with insight and grace. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, once wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This profound observation underscores the role of wisdom in emotional mastery. It's about recognizing that our emotions are often shaped by our interpretations, not the events themselves, and that understanding this can transform how we experience the world. Wisdom invites us to step back, to question our assumptions, and to see the bigger picture. It's a lens that brings clarity to the chaos of our feelings. One of the most practical ways to cultivate wisdom is by learning from our past mistakes, especially our emotional ones. Think about the last time you reacted impulsively or let anger or fear take over. What could you have done differently? By reflecting on these moments, you gain valuable insights into your patterns and triggers, turning past missteps into opportunities for growth. Wisdom doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes again. It means you'll approach them differently. It's about recognizing that every emotion, every challenge is a teacher if you're willing to learn. So here's a question to consider. What's one emotional mistake from your past that taught you something valuable? By embracing the virtue of wisdom, you're not just reacting to life, you're understanding it, growing from it, and mastering it. It's a practice that turns experience into insight and insight into emotional freedom. The day is done, the house is quiet, and you're finally settling into bed. But before you drift off, there's a powerful Stoic practice you can try: reflection. This isn't just about replaying your day, it's about mining it for lessons, insights, and opportunities to grow. The Stoics called this nightly ritual self-examination, and it's a cornerstone of emotional mastery. Take a few moments to review your day. What went well? What could have gone better? How did you respond to challenges? And how might you approach them differently next time? This isn't about dwelling on mistakes or patting yourself on the back. It's about cultivating awareness. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, made this a daily habit, writing, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit that's now mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said." By reflecting, you create a space to process your emotions, understand your reactions, and plan for improvement. It's like a mental reset, allowing you to close the day with intention and wake up with clarity. To get started, keep it simple. Jot down 3 things you learned or noticed about yourself that day. Over time, this practice becomes a mirror, revealing patterns and growth you might otherwise miss. Reflection isn't just about looking back. It's about moving forward with greater wisdom and purpose. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, what did today teach me? It's a small habit, but its impact can be profound, helping you transform each day into a stepping stone for emotional growth. Fear of failure, it's something we've all felt at some point. Maybe it's before a big presentation, a challenging conversation, or even trying something new. That knot in your stomach, the racing thoughts, the urge to turn back and avoid the risk altogether. The Stoics had a unique perspective on fear. They saw it not as a fact but as a construct of the mind. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, put it simply, it's not things themselves that trouble us but our opinions about things. In other words, fear isn't rooted in the event itself. It's rooted in how we perceive and interpret it. For instance, the fear of failing a test isn't about the test itself. It's about the meaning we attach to failure, shame, disappointment, or inadequacy. The Stoic approach to fear is about dismantling these interpretations and seeing the situation for what it truly is: a moment, a challenge, an opportunity. By reframing fear as an illusion, you strip it of its power, turning it from a paralyzing force into a catalyst for courage. Think of it like this: fear is like a shadow. It seems large and intimidating, but when you shine a light on it, you realize it's just an illusion, something you can step through or around. This doesn't mean fear disappears entirely, but it does mean you can face it with clarity and intention. The next time you feel that familiar fear creeping in, pause and ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen and how would I handle it? By preparing for the worst but hoping for the best, you build resilience and confidence, transforming fear into a tool for growth. Fear, as the Stoics taught, isn't something to avoid. It's something to confront, understand, and ultimately overcome. It's a practice that doesn't just build courage, it builds character, helping you step into challenges with a calm and steady heart. Now, let's talk about acceptance, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and a powerful tool for emotional peace. Acceptance isn't about resigning yourself to life's difficulties. It's about acknowledging reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, captured this beautifully when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In other words, our resistance to what is often causes more pain than the situation itself. Think about it. How much energy do we waste fighting against things we can't change? A delayed flight, a missed opportunity, or even a difficult person in our lives? Acceptance shifts your focus from what's out of your control to what you can influence, creating a foundation for inner calm. It's about saying, this is where I am and I'll make the best of it. This mindset doesn't mean you stop striving for improvement. It means you stop exhausting yourself with frustration and start channeling your energy into productive action. For example, if you're dealing with a challenging work environment, acceptance allows you to focus on what you can do, whether it's improving your skills, setting boundaries, or finding a new path, rather than dwelling on what you can't control. Acceptance isn't passive, it's empowering. It's a way to release the tension of resistance and step into a place of clarity and peace. So here's a question to reflect on. What can you accept today? Is it a situation you can't change, a person who's beyond your control, or even a past mistake you've been holding onto? By practicing acceptance, you free yourself from the weight of what you can't influence and open the door to greater emotional resilience. It's a practice that doesn't just bring peace, it brings freedom, helping you navigate life with greater ease and intention. How does impatience affect your emotions? It's a question worth asking, especially in a world that often feels like it's moving at lightning speed. Impatience can feel like a small thing, a tap of the foot, a glance at the clock. But over time, it builds into frustration, stress, and even anger. The Stoics saw patience as more than just waiting. They saw it as a virtue, a way to cultivate calm and resilience in the face of life's inevitable delays. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it." Impatience at its core is a form of anger, a resistance to events not happening as quickly or smoothly as we'd like. But here's the thing, life is full of waiting. Whether it's waiting in line, waiting for a response, or waiting to see the results of your efforts, impatience only amplifies the discomfort. The Stoic approach to patience is about shifting your mindset, seeing waiting not as wasted time, but as an opportunity to practice calm and self-control. For example, instead of fuming in traffic, you could use that time to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or simply enjoy a moment of stillness. Patience isn't passive, it's an active practice of acceptance and presence. It's about recognizing that some things are beyond your control, and that's okay. By embracing patience, you're not just enduring the wait, you're transforming it into a moment of peace. So, the next time you feel impatience creeping in, pause and ask yourself, what can I do with this time? It's a small shift, but it can make a world of difference, turning frustration into opportunity and stress into serenity. Patience, as the Stoics taught, isn't just a virtue, it's a pathway to emotional resilience, helping you navigate life's delays with grace and poise. How might your day feel different if you approached waiting with this mindset? The choice is yours, and the peace it brings is profound. Your worth is not tied to outcomes. This simple yet profound truth lies at the heart of Stoic detachment, a practice designed to free you from the emotional turbulence that comes with clinging to external events. The Stoics believed that much of our suffering stems from attaching our sense of self-worth to things we can't fully control. The approval of others, the success of our efforts, or even the circumstances of our lives. When you tie your identity to outcomes, you're setting yourself up for disappointment because life is inherently unpredictable. Detachment, as the Stoics taught, isn't about indifference or apathy. It's about recognizing that external events don't define you. Think of it like this: your value is intrinsic, unshaken by whether you succeed or fail, win or lose. For example, if you're working toward a promotion, detachment means giving your best effort while understanding that the final decision isn't in your hands. It's about focusing on the process, the skills you're building, the work you're doing rather than fixating on the result. This mindset doesn't just reduce anxiety, it also empowers you to approach challenges with greater resilience and clarity. Detachment allows you to participate fully in life without being emotionally derailed by its ups and downs. It's a practice that shifts your focus from what you can't control to what you can, your effort, your attitude, your response. So, the next time you find yourself worrying about an outcome, pause and remind yourself, this doesn't define me. By embracing detachment, you create a foundation of emotional stability that helps you navigate life's uncertainties with calm and confidence. It's a reminder that your worth is unshakable, rooted not in external achievements, but in the person you choose to be. Compassion, often seen as a soft or sentimental virtue, is in fact a cornerstone of emotional strength in Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, once wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This simple yet profound statement underscores the interconnectedness of all beings and the importance of empathy in our emotional lives. Compassion, from a Stoic perspective, isn't just about feeling for others. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and using that understanding to foster connection and peace. When you extend kindness or understanding to someone else, you're not just helping them, you're also enriching your own emotional well-being. Why? Because acts of compassion remind us that we're not alone in our struggles, and that realization can be a powerful antidote to isolation or despair. Think about it. When you're feeling low, how does it shift your mood to help someone else? Perhaps it's as simple as offering a listening ear, lending a hand to a colleague, or even just sharing a smile with a stranger. These small acts ripple outward, creating a sense of purpose and connection that uplifts both giver and receiver. Compassion doesn't require grand gestures. It's about showing up, even in small ways, with an open heart. So here's a challenge for today. Find an opportunity to extend compassion to someone in your life. It could be a friend, a family member, or even someone you don't know well. Notice how it feels not just for them, but for you. The Stoics believed that by helping others, we help ourselves, cultivating inner peace and emotional resilience in the process. Compassion isn't just a virtue, it's a practice that strengthens the bonds between us and deepens our understanding of what it means to be human. In a world that can often feel divided, it's a reminder that we're all in this together, and that connection is the key to emotional well-being. Discipline often gets a bad rap. It's seen as rigid, restrictive, or even boring. But in Stoic philosophy, discipline is something far more powerful, a key to emotional freedom. Think of it like this: discipline isn't about punishing yourself or denying pleasure. It's about creating a framework that allows you to thrive. Take something as simple as exercise. When you commit to a regular routine, you're not just building physical strength, you're also training your mind to stay consistent, focused, and resilient. This kind of self-discipline, the Stoics believed, is essential for mastering emotions. It's about choosing long-term well-being over short-term comfort, even when it's hard. Seneca put it this way: we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Discipline helps us move past those imagined fears and excuses, grounding us in action rather than hesitation. It's not just about sticking to a schedule or a diet. It's about cultivating the kind of self-control that allows you to respond to life's challenges with clarity and calm. For instance, when you're faced with a difficult conversation, discipline gives you the patience to listen before reacting, the restraint to choose your words carefully, and the resilience to stay composed even when emotions run high. By practicing discipline in small, everyday ways, you build the emotional muscle to handle bigger challenges with ease. It's a tool that doesn't just improve your habits, it transforms your mindset, helping you approach life with intention and purpose. How might your day feel different if you embraced discipline as a form of self-care rather than self-denial? The Stoics saw it as a pathway to freedom from impulsivity, from distraction, and from the chaos of unchecked emotions. It's a practice that doesn't just shape your actions, it shapes your life. Grief is one of the most profound emotions we experience, a natural response to loss that can feel overwhelming and all-consuming. The Stoics, however, offered a unique perspective on this pain, one that doesn't dismiss it but seeks to understand and navigate it with wisdom and resilience. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote extensively on grief, particularly after the loss of his dear friend and mentor, Annaeus Serenus. In his letters, he acknowledged the inevitability of sorrow, saying, "We are born to lose and to lose again." But he also emphasized that grief, while natural, doesn't have to dominate us. Instead of being consumed by it, we can learn to carry it with grace, allowing it to flow through us without letting it define our lives. The Stoic approach to grief isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about finding a balance between honoring the pain and moving forward. One key practice is to focus on gratitude, not for the loss itself, but for what was gained through the relationship or experience. For example, instead of dwelling solely on the absence of a loved one, you can reflect on the joy and lessons they brought into your life. This shift doesn't erase the pain, but it does create space for healing. Another Stoic tool is perspective, recognizing that loss is an inevitable part of life, a reminder of the impermanence that connects us all. By accepting this truth, we can approach grief with a sense of clarity and purpose, using it as an opportunity to grow rather than remain stuck. Grief, as the Stoics taught, isn't something to be feared or avoided. It's a teacher, a reminder of the depth of our connections and the strength of our resilience. How might your relationship with grief change if you saw it as a journey of love and learning rather than an endless void? The Stoic view doesn't offer a quick fix, but it does provide a path, one that honors the pain while guiding us toward healing and peace. It's a way to transform loss into a testament of what it means to truly live. Ending toxic relationships, whether it's with a person, a habit, or even a mindset, can feel like shedding a heavy weight you've been carrying for too long. This is the essence of letting go, a Stoic practice that's all about emotional freedom. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Letting go isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing not to let past hurts or negative influences control your present or future. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered closet. You're not just making space in your home, you're creating room for new possibilities in your life. Letting go can apply to so many areas: toxic relationships that drain your energy, grudges that weigh you down, or even rigid expectations that keep you stuck. The Stoics believed that clinging to what no longer serves us only prolongs our suffering. Instead, they encouraged us to release what we can't change and focus on what we can: our own growth, our own peace, our own path. For example, if you're holding on to resentment towards someone who's wronged you, ask yourself, is this emotion helping me or is it holding me back? Letting go doesn't mean you condone the other person's actions. It means you're choosing to prioritize your own well-being. It's a practice that takes courage, but the reward is immense. A sense of lightness, clarity, and freedom that comes from no longer being tethered to the past. What's one thing you can let go of today? It might be a grudge, a fear, or even an old story you've been telling yourself. By releasing what no longer serves you, you open the door to a more peaceful and purposeful life. Letting go, as the Stoics taught, isn't about forgetting, it's about moving forward with strength and grace. It's a practice that doesn't just free you from the past, it empowers you to embrace the present and step boldly into the future. Perseverance is more than just pushing through, it's about finding meaning in the struggle. The Stoics saw perseverance as a virtue, a way to build resilience and strength even when the path ahead feels daunting. Marcus Aurelius, who faced countless challenges during his reign, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This idea flips the script on obstacles, turning them from roadblocks into opportunities for growth. Perseverance, in the Stoic sense, isn't about brute force or blind determination. It's about clarity and purpose. It's the ability to keep moving forward, not because it's easy, but because you're committed to your goals and values. Think of it like climbing a mountain. The journey is steep and exhausting, but every step brings you closer to the summit. The key is to focus on the progress, no matter how small, rather than the difficulty of the climb. This mindset doesn't just help you overcome challenges, it transforms them into lessons, making you stronger and more capable with each hurdle you clear. Perseverance also teaches patience, reminding us that meaningful change rarely happens overnight. It's about trusting the process and staying committed, even when results aren't immediate. So here's a question to reflect on. What obstacle can you persist through today? It could be something small, like sticking to a healthy habit, or something larger, like navigating a difficult relationship or career setback. By choosing to persevere, you're not just enduring, you're growing, learning, and building the emotional resilience to handle whatever comes your way. Perseverance, as the Stoics taught, isn't just about getting through the storm, it's about becoming the kind of person who can weather any storm with courage and grace. It's a practice that doesn't just shape your actions, it shapes your character, helping you rise to the challenges of life with unwavering determination. Know yourself to control your emotions. This simple yet profound statement captures the essence of self-awareness, one of the most powerful Stoic practices for emotional mastery. Self-awareness isn't just about recognizing your feelings, it's about understanding the thoughts, beliefs, and triggers that shape those emotions. The Stoics believed that true emotional control begins with self-knowledge. After all, how can you manage what you don't fully understand? Think of it like being the captain of a ship. If you don't know the waters you're navigating or the condition of your vessel, you're more likely to be thrown off course by the first storm you encounter. Self-awareness gives you that map, helping you identify patterns in your emotions and behaviors. For instance, do you tend to react defensively to criticism? Or do certain situations consistently spark anxiety? By observing these patterns without judgment, you start to see the underlying beliefs driving them. This practice isn't about blaming yourself or overanalyzing every thought. It's about cultivating a kind, curious awareness that helps you respond to life with intention rather than habit. A practical way to build self-awareness is through regular reflection. Take a few minutes each day to ask yourself, what emotions did I feel today and what triggered them? Were my reactions aligned with my values? Over time, this simple habit can reveal insights that transform your emotional landscape. Self-awareness isn't just a Stoic tool. It's a foundation for growth, helping you align your actions with your deeper purpose and navigate life's challenges with clarity and confidence. It's a practice that doesn't just help you understand your emotions, it empowers you to master them. How can you experience joy without becoming attached to the things that bring it? This question lies at the heart of the Stoic understanding of joy, a concept that might seem surprising given the philosophy's reputation for calm and restraint. Contrary to popular belief, the Stoics weren't against joy. They simply saw it as an emotion to be approached with mindfulness and balance. Unlike fleeting happiness, which often depends on external circumstances, Stoic joy is rooted in inner peace and gratitude. It's about finding contentment in the present moment, not because everything is perfect, but because you've learned to appreciate what you have. Marcus Aurelius put it this way: when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. This kind of joy isn't tied to possessions, achievements, or even relationships. It's a state of being that comes from within. The Stoic approach encourages us to savor life's pleasures without clinging to them, understanding that all things are temporary. For example, if you're enjoying a delicious meal, you can fully immerse yourself in the experience without fearing its end. By detaching joy from attachment, you protect yourself from the anxiety of loss or the disappointment of unmet expectations. This doesn't mean you stop celebrating life's joys. It means you approach them with a sense of balance, appreciating them for what they are without letting them define your happiness. The Stoic view of joy is ultimately about freedom to enjoy life without being enslaved by it. It's a practice that doesn't just deepen your appreciation for the good moments, it also helps you weather the difficult ones with greater resilience. When joy is rooted in gratitude and presence, it becomes a steady companion, guiding you through life's ups and downs with grace and equanimity. Contentment is often misunderstood. It's not about settling or giving up ambition, but about finding peace in the present moment. The Stoics saw contentment as a cornerstone of emotional well-being, a way to quiet the constant chase for more and focus on the abundance already within your life. Seneca, the philosopher who wrote extensively on the subject, once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This idea challenges us to shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have. It's about recognizing that the pursuit of external achievements, wealth, status, or even relationships often leaves us feeling empty, because no amount of external validation can replace the inner peace that comes from contentment. One practical way to cultivate this mindset is through the practice of gratitude. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're thankful for. It could be as simple as a warm meal, a kind word from a friend, or even the ability to face a challenge with resilience. By consciously appreciating these moments, you train your mind to recognize the abundance in your life rather than fixating on what's missing. Contentment isn't about ignoring your goals or aspirations. It's about finding joy in the journey and appreciating the small victories along the way. Another approach is to differentiate between needs and wants. The Stoics believed that many of our desires are not essential to our happiness. By focusing on what truly matters, relationships, health, personal growth, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of wanting more. This doesn't mean you stop striving for improvement. It means you do so from a place of fulfillment rather than lack. Contentment, in this sense, becomes a foundation for meaningful progress rather than a barrier to it. Ultimately, the power of contentment lies in its ability to ground you, allowing you to experience emotional satisfaction regardless of external circumstances. It's a practice that doesn't just change how you see the world, it changes how you live in it. By embracing contentment, you create a sense of inner stability that helps you navigate life's ups and downs with grace and gratitude. What's one thing in your life right now that you can pause to appreciate? Taking a moment to acknowledge it might just be the key to unlocking a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. Vulnerability often feels like the opposite of strength. Admitting a mistake, sharing a fear, or asking for help can leave us feeling exposed. But from a Stoic perspective, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a profound form of courage. Think about the last time you admitted you were wrong. Perhaps it was in a disagreement with a loved one or a misstep at work. At the time, it might have felt uncomfortable, even painful, but afterward, didn't it also feel like a weight had been lifted? This is the paradox of vulnerability. It's difficult in the moment, but it's also deeply liberating. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from facing the things we'd rather avoid, whether it's owning up to a mistake, expressing a difficult emotion, or even seeking support when we need it. By embracing vulnerability, we build resilience because we're no longer hiding from our imperfections or pretending to have all the answers. Take, for instance, the practice of admitting a weakness. It's something many of us resist, fearing judgment or rejection. But when you acknowledge a flaw or limitation, you're not just being honest with others, you're being honest with yourself. This self-awareness is the foundation of growth, allowing you to address what needs improvement rather than burying it under defensiveness or denial. Vulnerability, in this sense, becomes a tool for self-mastery, a way to strengthen your character by confronting what's uncomfortable. This doesn't mean vulnerability is easy. It requires courage, the kind that comes from knowing your worth isn't tied to being perfect. By leaning into vulnerability, you're not just building emotional resilience, you're also fostering deeper connections with others. People are drawn to authenticity, and when you show up with honesty and openness, you create space for trust and understanding. It's a reminder that we're all human, all flawed, and all doing our best. So, what's one area of your life where you could practice vulnerability today? It might be a conversation you've been avoiding, an apology you need to make, or simply admitting that you don't have all the answers. By embracing vulnerability, you're not just showing courage, you're taking a step toward greater emotional strength and connection. It's a practice that doesn't just help you grow, it helps you live with authenticity and grace. Vulnerability, as the Stoics taught, is the bridge between fear and freedom, a pathway to becoming your most resilient and authentic self. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. This is the essence of non-attachment, a Stoic practice designed to free us from the emotional weight of trying to control the uncontrollable. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or apathy. It's about recognizing that some things are beyond our influence and learning to release our grip on them. The Stoics understood that much of our suffering comes from clinging to outcomes, to people, to circumstances. By practicing non-attachment, we create space for peace and clarity, even in the face of uncertainty. At its core, non-attachment is rooted in the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control, the idea that some things are within our power while others are not. For instance, you can't control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. This simple distinction can be life-changing. When you let go of what you can't control, you redirect your energy toward what you can, your thoughts, your actions, your choices. It's a shift that doesn't just reduce stress, it empowers you to live with intention and purpose. How do you start practicing non-attachment? Begin with small, everyday moments. If you're stuck in traffic, instead of letting frustration take over, remind yourself that the delay is outside your control. Focus instead on how you can use that time, perhaps listening to a podcast or reflecting on your day. This mindset doesn't just apply to external events, it also helps with internal struggles. For example, if you're worried about an upcoming decision, recognize that the outcome isn't entirely in your hands. Focus instead on the effort you're putting in and the values guiding your choices. Non-attachment isn't about giving up, it's about finding freedom in acceptance. By releasing what you can't control, you create room for what truly matters: your growth, your peace, your ability to navigate life with grace. This Stoic practice doesn't just transform how you handle challenges, it transforms how you experience life itself. What's one thing you can let go of today? By choosing non-attachment, you're not just freeing yourself from external burdens, you're opening the door to a deeper sense of calm and fulfillment. It's a practice that doesn't just change your perspective, it changes your life. The Stoic view of love might surprise you. It's not about grand gestures or sweeping emotions, but about balance and compassion. The Stoics believed that love, like any emotion, should be rooted in reason and guided by wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, beautifully captured this idea when he wrote, "Love the little society of which you are a part and seek to do good to them." This isn't about self-sacrifice or losing yourself in another person. It's about loving with intention, respecting both the other person and your own boundaries. The Stoics saw love as an opportunity to practice virtues like kindness, patience, and understanding, but they also warned against letting love become a source of dependency or emotional turmoil. Instead of clinging to others for validation or security, they encouraged us to cultivate a sense of self-worth and independence. This doesn't mean distancing yourself emotionally. It means loving in a way that's grounded and healthy, where both people are free to grow and thrive. So how can you love without dependency? Start by reflecting on your relationships. Are they built on mutual respect and shared values, or are they driven by fear of loss or need for approval? The Stoic approach invites us to love deeply but also wisely, recognizing that true connection comes from a place of strength, not neediness. This balanced view of love doesn't diminish its intensity. It enhances it, allowing us to experience its joys without being overwhelmed by its challenges. It's a reminder that love, at its best, is not just a feeling, it's a practice, one that enriches our lives and strengthens our emotional resilience. How might your relationships shift if you approached love with this mindset? By embracing the Stoic view of love, you create space for deeper, more meaningful connections that honor both yourself and those you care about. Picture this: you're staring at a mountain of tasks, work projects, household chores, personal goals, and the sheer weight of it all leaves you frozen, unsure where to even begin. It's here that the Stoic philosophy offers a lifeline: action. Not just any action, but deliberate, purposeful steps that transform anxiety into progress. The Stoics understood that worry often stems from feeling overwhelmed by what's ahead, but they also knew that the antidote to that paralysis lies in movement. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, do what you must with what you have where you are. This isn't just a call to action, it's a reminder that even small steps can break the cycle of worry and create momentum. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're facing a tight deadline at work. Instead of letting the stress of the clock consume you, you break the task into smaller, manageable pieces. Focus on completing the first step, then the next, and before you know it, you've made progress. This approach doesn't just alleviate anxiety, it builds confidence, proving that you're capable of handling challenges one step at a time. The Stoic view of action isn't about rushing blindly forward. It's about moving with intention, directing your energy toward what you can control rather than wasting it on what you can't. But why is action so effective in reducing stress? When you're in motion, even if it's just a small step, you shift your focus from the overwhelming what-ifs to the tangible what now. This shift in perspective is powerful because it grounds you in the present moment, where solutions are possible rather than the future, which is often filled with imagined fears. By taking action, you're not just solving a problem, you're reclaiming a sense of agency over your life. The next time you feel stuck in a spiral of worry, ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do right now to move forward? It might be drafting an email, tidying a corner of your workspace, or even just taking a deep breath to clear your mind. Each action, no matter how minor, chips away at the mountain of anxiety, reminding you that you're stronger than your fears. The Stoic practice of action isn't just about getting things done, it's about building resilience one step at a time and finding peace in the process. It's a reminder that progress, not perfection, is the key to mastering stress and embracing life with confidence. We've journeyed through 50 Stoic practices designed to help you master your emotions, from the power of the pause to the wisdom of living naturally. Each of these tools is more than just a philosophy, it's a practical way to navigate the ups and downs of life with clarity and calm. Whether it's learning to detach from outcomes, embracing discomfort, or cultivating gratitude, these practices are timeless reminders that our emotions don't have to control us. Instead, we can choose how we respond, turning challenges into opportunities for growth and strength. The Stoics didn't just write about these ideas, they lived them. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers, once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This profound truth lies at the heart of emotional mastery. When you take charge of your thoughts and reactions, you unlock a sense of freedom that no external circumstance can take away. It's not about eliminating emotions, it's about understanding them, working with them, and using them as tools to live a more intentional, fulfilling life. As we wrap up, I encourage you to take these practices and make them your own. Start small, perhaps with mindful breathing, a moment of reflection, or a simple act of gratitude. Over time, these small steps can lead to big transformations, helping you navigate life's storms with resilience and grace. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Share your experiences in the comments below. What practices resonated with you? What challenges are you working through? Let's build a community of support and growth inspired by the wisdom of the Stoics. So, as Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Emotional mastery isn't a destination, it's a daily practice, a journey of becoming the best version of yourself. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of Stoic wisdom. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit. Together, let's embrace the tools that help us live with greater peace, purpose,